It's okay. Brains are hard. Yes, they are.
I guess I'm mostly trying to feel into what it's like process wise moving from these styles, right? So like I'm most comfortable in the thing that you're talking about, like hyper just and then get it established or whatever. And then I've done some amount of like longer term maintenance on a cadence, like adding features, and then I just fucking can't. I'm like, why? I know it'd be so much better if you just did this thing. So having a balancing act between those two things, we never got it into like a really good I guess rhythm, so it'll be interesting with this.
It sounds like he's pretty open to experiment, and I wonder if there can be like a super intense like side like session on their side, then they, because he called it a sprint, so I like didn't know what the period between the sprints is. Like, is that more a little where it's like kind of, oh, here's the product in its current shape, we can like play with it in that time, send it out to people to use, and then like it's just like rounds of this, which I could kind of see going on. But I do, there's like definitely a rather big difference in our build style and their like totally established process, which is very functional.
And I mean, I was just going to get into the weeds of it. Like, it seems like they're oriented towards different things.
So, but I think
one thing though,
meeting in the middle somewhere in here gives us a new range or style
playground.
Totally. Exactly. So it'd be interesting to see what that outputs.
Well, Farzad so like the thing, one of the things we talked about why we wanted to reopen the project with Farzad is because once we have a prototype and we're starting to get more into like the product and who's using it, we're talking about audience and market and like testing, like that kind of thing. So it's directionally headed towards business, if you will, and like the potentiality of incorporating into the products that we work on, ways to financialize it some way or like monetize, like, and we don't know if that's going to be in the cards for Prompty, but our tendency has been not to explore those angles too deeply. And because Farzad is like very focused on it, I think it's a good experiment. And I told him this, like, we want to learn from you and we're not asking you to make money on this. We're not like, come in and make this and do like a money maker, but can you help us think about it because you tend towards that? And if it's not Prompty, we'll find something else potentially, but we get to test out our work styles.
Sure.
Yeah, and it definitely touches on the innovative process and then the production process, which we've felt into this like time and time again. They're very different, but how do you bridge them? Because the innovation work is a totally different mindset and it's exploratory. You don't really know exactly, you're inventing things, and then putting it into production is a bit different. You've got the shape of it, it's been birthed. Like, what do you do to bring it to the next phase? And he's, I think, good at that.
Yeah, it's interesting. I just started reading like one of the Xerox PARC books or whatever a little bit last night, and they like basically they quote unquote say like, you know, I think they're trying to frame it in a way where it wasn't like Xerox PARC failed, but it was more like, if you look at it through a certain lens, like Xerox PARC failed to do that like innovation cycle. They did bring through basically like what they did, he summed it up, I think, into 4 points. I don't remember all of them, but it was like basically throw a bunch of money at smart people. Smart people will recruit more smart people to work with them. And then you get innovation, more or less. Like that was like the steps. And the problem is like Xerox wasn't able to effectively capture a lot of the innovation that they did. The innovation that Xerox captured was the laser printer, which, given the money that they put in, still was a good return on investment ultimately, but like maybe not as much as they could have captured. Anyhow, like I just thought that was interesting, and like there is like that innovation. Like I think it's a hard problem is maybe what I was like maybe going towards there, is like even the ones that we traditionally or we look at and have seen historical like success is like they weren't perfect either.
No, I mean, there's going to be slop in the system. There's no way around it.
Yeah.
Like, I think the Xerox thing, the small bit that I read, was basically they had that geographic problem where like the innovation was happening in like Palo Alto or wherever they were, and the business was being managed like on the East Coast. And so like it was just separate enough and like pre, you know, like decent internet, you know, comm stuff that like they were just at cross purposes all the time. They didn't understand like
they couldn't
business
communicate with each other.
Yeah. So like,
bringing you built in a computer for people. Why did you build a computer for people? Computers
only businesses.
Business.
Yeah. I mean, and then it took somebody like Steve Jobs to go in there and be like, I'll take this.
Yeah, Steve.
That'll be mine. Thank you.
Yeah.
I feel like we're exploring the transition between these two zones. And like we have an understanding, I feel like a comfort and an understanding of the innovation process, like that feels nice, like for specifically Dave and CJ, like the hackier, like sort of like pulling it out of the earth. And like, I don't know, John, I feel like you and we like the transition over. That part seems to be the most challenging because like, and then how do you bridge it to the next part? So like far as that sort of, I don't know, potentially embodies like a teacher or a way of feeling into the more production pipeline stuff, but it's sort of like 3 phases really, with the transition being potentially the most challenging. Yeah. Like how do you move? I always liked transition. So like, I think I'm identifying Kevin with that a bit. Yeah.
I think Kevin also likes the transition stuff a little bit, at least like, I don't know, just kind of seeing the body of work and the things that he enjoys the most is like, he likes to take something that is hacky and start turning it into more of a system, but he doesn't necessarily like working in a system. So it's like, that's part of the transition is like, you're not totally working in a system yet, but you're starting to formalize like some processes in a way that makes sense.
I mean, it's finding like some sort of pipeline here, I guess. And where it seems like we're able to jump into other people's projects and help them along this whole continuum as well. So that's also interesting. And figuring out where we are in that process. Is it like, are we in innovation? Are we transitioning? Or like, I get the sense that we are not like the kind of squad, at least right now, that comes in for production process, but maybe it seems more like innovation to innovation pipeline out to production. Like we'll help you hand off, but so this is where
is very important. Handing off things is very tough. That is true. Yeah. Like just generally.
So funny. Like one of the things that I did in my past life in social work, health policy world was help build a transitional model of care from hospital back home for older adults and people with disabilities. And there's a bunch of stuff in here. But one of the things that we geeked out about, because it was me and a handful of people that were younger, like peers, and we sort of got delegated by like leadership, like you guys are smart enough, go build the model, figure out like the marketing, like the whole, like it was our project basically, which was really cool. And there's handoffs everywhere. It's all about transition. So it's not just a transition from hospital to home, but when you're talking about medical stuff, there's handoffs from the doctor to the nurse, from the nurse to the PT, from this to that, it's insane. We were trying to get to the qualitative nature of like what a good handoff is. And we came up with a warm handoff, and that was a whole joke forever because we're just like, we can't say that though. Like, should we get up in front of people and train them on the warm handoff?
You should call it a warm handy.
Yeah, that's
all of
exactly
these jokes,
right.
But this makes sense. Like because we would talk about if you give someone information in such a way that you're just like passing on like quantitative information or like dry information about like in healthcare, they're just like, okay, there's so much room to interpret. Like, what are you saying? Like, what am I supposed to do here? So like, how do you tee people up, and how do you help ensure that the transition is smooth in every interaction along the way? So yeah, it's really interesting to me that the transitional stuff is coming up again. It excites me. Makes sense. It's hard. It's hard to transition. Like we're all going through transitions all the time, and it's those like, what are we doing? What's happening? Like, yeah. So
yeah, this stuff through the product life cycle continues too. So you have like the initial, like burst of energy that gets a pattern into the world, and then people start using it, and then there's usually like a few rounds of it, like iteration on that basic model once it hits like, and we've done a fair amount of that stuff, like doing paper style, like, or Discord style prompts and these kinds of things or whatever. And then, so you get the prototype, people want to use it. They start asking they're like, I want this and I want that. It would be cool if we could do this and this and this and this. And that's usually a good sign that there is like an area of like value. Then if if you're doing the bootstrap thing, you're basically like trying to capture a value proposition that you can then like exchange for money, right? Like, so customers can come in and give you money to continue to do the thing. Then it's moving into like, there's all kinds of models for continuous development on this stuff, right? Figuring out how to bring in enough experimentation with also doing maintenance to keep the thing, what that looks like, who owns it, how all that stuff works. I've only been through one cycle on this with one product. It was for a very long time, and but yeah, we tried a ton of experiments on this front. And you do naturally go through phases where like it's time to like upgrade something technically, and that sort of changes your product market relationship, or you're trying to like widen the types of people who are using the product, or you've got new verticals and all that stuff. So yeah, I don't know. Where we all fit in that life cycle, I don't know. Like the early stuff makes sense, for sure.
Yeah, I don't know. And the reason I'm bringing this up is to articulate just, it's more meta because I don't like, we've been talking a lot about this, Dave and I, and moving the work that we're doing into something. And like, John, you've been part of this too. Like, is there a business here? And it feels like there is a way to make money. So without, I don't like, we're not trying to solve it right now, but let's
being
talk
open
about
to
it.
showing up and incubating them.
Yeah, I mean, there's some mix of services, like helping other people with projects, working on our own software. If there is a software product and like a subscription model that is also helping us work with other people, then that's a double whammy, and that's nice. And then if the product is manageable from like sysops and like customer support and all these kinds of things, if we can also figure out ways to help like a community manage that kind of thing, the margins are pretty high, and it can underwrite a lot of like broad experimentation, and can potentially support like salaried work for a handful of people minimally. So yeah, because I don't know, some of these SaaS products, like you can get them up to $2 or $3 million in revenue without like an enormous amount of structural overhead. But who knows these days? Like, all that stuff is up for grabs. But
right. But this all being built on Web3 primitives also opens up like a whole new swath of options there. So that makes me excited. As simple as like there's an option to pool your answers and like do little bounties, and like part of that, those transactions get funneled back to the community treasury. Like, and then that's like on the other end of the spectrum, you have like, we're gonna help you integrate Prompty into your workflow and like teach you how to, I don't know, there's a bunch of stuff in between. So it'll be very interesting to play with these models.
Yep.
Yeah, it's cool. It's fun. I'm excited too. I'm excited to get Prompty out in the world.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah. Also could be that no one uses it.
I know.
We'll find out. Start with def.
Yeah, that's I think it's like the notification thing. That's the big thing is like if you don't have a system for notifications, like no one's coming back.
Yeah.
Is kind of what I realized. Like there's no loop there to like keep you coming. Like that's part of the gods thing is like I literally had to set a reminder on my phone to like feed my gods or whatever. Cover my gods.
Yeah, makes sense.
Which is fine. It's just like, and they like their built-in loop is like do it for enough time where you can buy a thing so you don't have to come back to their website, which is like fine, but like I don't know, having it more engaging. Like I think like basically doing that's what I think is like do notifications through Discord in some way.
Yeah.
To like
the box there.
Keep people engaged in at least a small way, like use it as like a hacky notification system.
Which is fine. I think that the primary place that we're going to be stress testing this thing until like more of the like mature notification patterns and stuff show up is going to be in Web3 with Discord and Ethereum anyway. So this lets us prototype all that stuff. It's going to, I mean, I think it's also good practice for Farzad and his team to play with these like new patterns because they're like the old stuff, but slightly crappier. Because we don't have the peer-to-peer like infrastructure yet. Like we have the basic peer-to-peer idea. We have we have some primitives, but like a lot of the like affordances to make the place not like a half-broken factory floor. Like that stuff is just not around yet. We need to invent it. So like running ourselves into these problems on a small scale app that like people generally want to use is a good place to bubble up nifty primitives. And then we can share those things like, this is what we're running into notification wise. This is what's working for us.
Yep. Yeah, definitely love the idea of releasing
it's just making me think.
White papers. Here's how we solve this problem.
Yeah.
Here's the context that we did it in. Here's the source code. That sounds so cool.
You were saying, TJ?
I forgot something from my relational structure that I built.
No,
and it's not cross-chain compatible, and there's a very easy way to make it cross-chain compatiable.
See, this is why we do these chats so that you can fix something else.
I just realized it because I was like, oh, notifications! Like I want to go to my website and see notifications of like blah blah blah. And I was like, oh, what if I just put Prompty notifications on my website? That would be great.
So all right. So I've been losing my goddamn mind about this. I need a fucking menu, like just a daily menu.
Okay.
And these are the kinds of things that I want on my daily menu, right? This is some stuff that needs processing. This is some calendar. Like it's right. It's
like a dashboard, but not as prescriptive. It's more like a buffet of like things that you can like poke at. It's not as like, here's the current status in your face. Rather,
it's a thing so the equivalent of this is my giant notepad on my desk. That like, and when I have an office or a studio, it's always on my desk and it's always there. And it's got, and I'm like, I can just go check in with it and I move through the pages. But generally, like, here's a thing that I check every day to see, is there something that I need to be doing that is not necessarily the fucking highest priority right now? But if I could churn through this, the rest of my life would be better. Like, I have like I have a bunch of admin stuff that like, I don't know, I forget. And then now I'm like in 14 projects. So I don't know, like, do I check that person's Slack and then this other fucking thing over here? And I'm like, it's just, I don't know. Anyways, menu page.
So I guess I was thinking about that basically like in the context, like I might want that for myself. It's just like, here's like a basic thing of what's happening with people interacting with this system in some way, whether it be Prompty, whether it be something. It's like, it is tied to my wallet address or whatever. So like I can easily query it and just be like,
yeah, this
I
is
put
cool.
out this prompt, or other people like if I'm just curious about Prompty, I can just get a Prompty feed and be like, I don't need to go to Prompty, the website. I just like go check my like dashboard thingy and see like, here are Prompties that like all of these people created or they responded to, because I'm curious about like what they are doing.
Yeah, it's like a composable dashboard component.
Yeah,
per user RSS kind of.
Yeah,
it's componentized. That's the cool part. Like you can just plug in little like
That's cool.
Totally.
That is
We'll start with Prompty. Yeah,
No,
this
I mean,
is
we're
why
gonna-
something. This is why something like, I think John, you were just saying this, like doing a smaller product that has a lot of extensibility, can be used in a lot of different places, but it's pretty like simple. Like it's not, there's not too much going on, but we're going to run into all of these things that we're going to want associated with it, because the Web3 communications, like primitives and infrastructure, are not nearly as, I don't know, like what the word is here. Mature
Developed.
as Web2. Yeah, developed. Yep.
Yeah. Well, also ironically enough, being like ripe for the developing. Like they're not even. There's so much interesting possibilities
There's
there.
low hanging fruit then.
Yeah.
just it's pace layers again, right?
Yeah.
Like the L1 stuff is effectively functional, right? Like it'll develop at the pace that it needs to develop, but we just need, it's like
we're
putting
moving
flesh on a
higher
robot.
up the stack. Yeah.
Well, it's kind of it's funny because like the L2 stuff, like I think a lot of the L2 stuff to me doesn't make sense as L2, because ultimately it's just going to get moved down into L1. Like that's effectively what the research is like L2s are like more cutting edge on the research side of blockchains. And then that research gets tested in the real world, merged into L1.
It's like
and then L1 becomes more stable in a way.
Yeah.
Or something. Like maybe that's not the pattern, but like there could be something there. Like,
I think that makes sense. It's like it's layers of movement, like L1 at the base being the thing that's moving the slowest, right? And then but you need the and then permeability in the layers going upwards. I think Gord Brander just wrote about like protocol layering. Similar kind of thing here. So it makes sense. And then in the case where the top end where people are like interacting with the thing, right? Like you can shuffle that around to some degree, but at a certain point those patterns will also settle, and like people will start expecting the thing to work in a certain way. And if you start rejiggering that, like Facebook did all these experiments like the news feed or whatever, and like people would get used to it, and then they just got them used to constant iteration which made people frantic and insane. There was a time there where like they like Facebook and the bigger like social interfaces, they weren't shipping changes to the product that often. Like it would be months. Now it's like fucking every week there's some goddamn
well, there's like
that's slowed
17
down, but
A/B tests running, so you never even know
exactly.
Are you like getting the same version of the feed as the other person?
Sounds horrible. That level of standardization and like playing, I'm not interested in personally, for the record.
But there's plenty of room for like software to basically be steady state in an interaction capacity, and then you can like snap in modules and like plugins and like additions and stuff like that. But your core interaction is basically locked down into a metaphor. And so but also you have clients here, so people can build new clients, and then you get a proliferation of different like usage patterns with the clients. So
So do we want to talk about bringing this into def? Like, do we want to go into the front end dev list? What, those are like our two
things, two main things.
Feels like the dev list might be first, so we can get that going. Because the next demo day, I'm assuming, is next Wednesday. So
Yeah,
we have like
exactly.
a solid amount of time before then. Either we get something back from them, or we poke at some of this stuff ourselves. And I think we'll have a clear picture of like what to show Def and what to ask for. But I did see your Figma frame, and I think that like covered most of the questions for Def. So we can definitely start dropping thoughts.
Here, I'll drop the link in.
Yep.
I don't know why, but it says, CJ, that you can only view, and I got stuck in this loop. I'm putting this in the Prompty.
Oh yeah, I tried to upgrade it and it forces it to be moved. Or
Oh, did you
setup.
form this? No, I'm the owner. So I tried to move it to it and it wouldn't let me. Ugh.
I wonder why only CJ is in this. Is it possible we just remove somebody else who's not actively using it now? Might it be a per user limit thing?
Yeah, I can remove Julian. Luca, I'll keep. Yeah, Dave, I don't know if you mind taking a look. CJ, because you can't edit, right?
I can.
It says this
you
user
can.
can edit, but yeah, you can't explicitly give that permission because the base permission is
I can do whatever I want.
Okay, good. Then we're
It's free.
Yeah.
because every time like I try to move it, it's like, well, it first tells me I can't change that permission unless I move it, and then it won't let me move it. I'm like, what the hell? And I don't have, I haven't met my quota, so.
Yeah.
Anyways, moving
I
on.
bet it's like just cached on your browser or something weird.
Interesting. All right, John, do you want to?
What are these tag things? They get bigger and smaller in size.
I know. I don't like that.
What the hell?
They also do a thing when you're in the little tab.
Oh, what the fuck is that?
There's tape now.
Yeah,
Tape?
so you can scrapbook.
W.
Obviously.
Oh my god, that's cute.
That's very cute.
It's so stupid.
So I wonder if we can start even before Notion, just like doing it here with like sticky notes, just like specific things. I don't mind like getting those into a table later, but I don't think we need to worry as much about formatting. Let's see. Maybe an example one might be transition state.
Oh yeah, just a sticky note. That's cool. Simple. I guess I can share my screen so that's recorded.
Oh yeah, I could do that. I don't mind.
Okay. Oh yeah, so our internet doesn't crap out again.
Yeah. Loading state.
Oh, what the hell?
What?
Check out this alignment scale doodad that they have. You can hide the results.
Whoa. Whoa.
Or like redo them. I don't know how this works, but
Oh, you like just click once and then it plops you down there. And then it tells you who voted.
How aligned are we? Whoa, here's some tape.
oh,
Sorry.
This is fancy.
Yeah, it's becoming more and more coordinate. All these things, coordination tooling.
Mm-hmm.
And I get to
Sentiment.
show. I get to show and hide the results. I have that power. Is that what's happening?
I think
Yeah, you
Everyone
got
has
the
the
power.
power.
I think it's a component.
Everyone has the power. This is so
Yeah.
Oh, I reset it. Okay. Anyway.
Good find.
How neat.
Okay, that was
Well
very
recorded.
random. I was just trying to figure out where you got the tape thing, and I couldn't find it, so I found this instead.
Oh yeah.
Remember-
I think the tape thing is on the bottom.
Oh, there's
bottom
the
left.
tape thing. I found
Yeah.
it.
Remember when we first discovered Fig Jam together? And
Yes.
Dave was like, what is going on? You're breaking my brain. This was really stressful.
Our brains nearly broke. Yes.
Yes.
Was Sharu's there too? And he's just, He's
I
like,
think
what?
Shrews
No.
was there. There's a sushi
Where's
one.
the tape?
Oh my god.
In the toolbar at the very left. It's the very left item.
Yeah, click like the pencil. It looks
Here
like,
for
or the
infinite
marker.
Oh, I
sushi.
see.
Oh yeah, the swap it.
Washi tape.
Okay. Got very distracted.
Reasonable.
I mean, they're doing good UI work on this.
Yeah, they are. Fruit salad tape.
Let's get their UI prototypers.
Cost $1 billion.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I don't think the people working at Figma doing this want to do the work that we're doing. Maybe. I don't know why they'd
You
be at
don't
Figma though.
Yeah.
All right.
We get to play with the
I don't know how to think
fancy.
about this without looking at the app. Do you do that like as you're doing this,
Yeah.
John?
No, yeah, I
Okay.
think that'd be very helpful. Yeah, I'm just kind of was doing the things I remembered from memory, but yeah, it'd be much better to go through the whole flow. Maybe also open up that in here. Yeah, we already have the flows in
Oh,
here.
yeah.
Great. So I'm not even gonna put much more than the descriptions, I think, for now, because most of these are going to be pretty similar to one another. So we could really just keep this like super simple. Like one sticky note is a thing that the app should do that it does not do now.
Sure.
So let's just start with the flow, I think. Run through it. Bridge to prompt, yes. So first disconnect. So by default, if we're not signed in, we don't want to be able to see active prompts, right?
No, we keep getting stuck on this one.
Yeah,
we
drop these
we
here.
everybody sees everything all the time
Yep.
right now.
Yeah.
We'll figure out. I think we're going to
Okay, so-
probably need like some kind of whitelisting who can see what at some point, but till we get there.
Yeah. I thought
Everyone-
who can see. I thought prompts are open. At least to me, it makes sense for prompts to be open for anyone to see whether you're connected or not. So you can be like, I might want to respond to something here.
Yeah.
That's
Otherwise,
right.
you just
Yeah.
get a blank page and you're like, the fuck am I
Yeah.
doing?
Yes.
Whereas
think
like, yeah, on
This is what I'm thinking of.
Yes.
on prompts.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
I
On
keep-
prompts.
Yeah. Getting these. Okay, so hide.
I think one of the first things is going to be like, can we have like community gated prompts or something like this? But
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
we'll get
That's
there.
awesome.
Set a numerical route of who's allowed to respond to this thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, there was something that came up with mobile and Rainbow Kit. Tony ran into it. I'm sure we can replicate it, but like, I guess for an issue like that, I'm maybe gonna make it a different pile because it's not front end. Way like
It's a
I
Rainbow
don't-
thing.
yeah, I don't know how familiar
It'll
we are with
like
Rainbow
if we
Kit at
just
all.
redeploy on Polygon, it'll be fixed.
Mm. Oh, okay. Because it won't require them to switch networks, which is the thing that wasn't popping up.
Rainbow has terrible support for test nets.
Got it. So let's make that. One thing we mentioned on the call was like basically the text to markdown, or rather markdown to HTML conversion. CJ, any gotchas there? I'm assuming text is what, like the raw markdown is going to be.
I thought it's already there. It might not be
I
in
think
the text input field, but it will render for responses.
Okay, In that case,
Yeah,
it's
so
just
this
the
is
new
a
lines.
CSS problem. Probably like global typography. Like we have to start setting up our standards for this. Like, should there be padding after paragraphs?
Yeah.
I think that's all it is.
Yep.
And then,
CSS.
That's
Yeah.
good.
So typographically, like Farzad's group or whatever can go through and create all the design standards for all that stuff, and we can get that implemented. This is the kind of thing I don't know how much Kevin has done on this type wise, but yeah,
Probably at least something.
I've done a few thousand of these. We can go rip off Substack or Notion, or because they've got extremely tight versions of all this stuff. But it is an area of personality, how you do your paddings and kernings and etc.
Not sure what's happening here, but we'll leave it for later. Bug can be read.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I just
my computer, like how hard could this be? Oh my god.
Oh, that'd be great.
Want to put in explicitly, basically like replace these two fields with like that double slider thing? Is that something for later? So like within the scope?
Sorry, I just got hearing back.
No worries. Basically wondering if like the scope of the things that we want to hand off to Farzad and companies, like
Oh yeah, they can
replacing a
do the
component like this.
double damn it. Yeah, for sure. I don't think we need to do that. I can do it, but I think it's if I bet they can tackle it easier, or they have some methodology that might work even better.
I imagine, yeah.
Especially if they have a React person.
Yeah.
What's the max that can go to?
4,096.
4,095.
Yeah, there's a bug in the code. We can up the limit. I think I just arbitrarily put it, but yeah, we should limit in the damn it so it doesn't go outside.
Voila. Yeah, ASCII, damn it.
Well, that's impressive.
Thank you.
Came up with that very quickly.
CJ, I was wondering if you have any idea what this error is complaining about, potentially. Just make sure we have some bold in here. Oh, no, wrong one. Hold on. I saw it somewhere else. Here. Reverted.
I can go look up the original error. Are you within the minimum? Is there a minimum?
It's a good question. Just create a new prompt, I guess.
I don't know. I would have to literally go hash it the thing. It's really annoying.
Yeah. Okay. That's fine. I guess this might be one of the things that we solved before handing off to them.
Yeah. Just add that one and also copy that little hex data thing.
Oh, okay, that's
because that's it'll tell you, that tells you literally what error was thrown in the contract, and then it'll be easy to track it back.
Got it.
Or relatively easy. I just have to hash it.
Anything around title of prompt and like potentially adding or splitting up the title into like title and description of prompt? Does that, because I like the specificity of longer prompts, but I'm wondering if we want to think about how they show up in the very like front end.
Yeah, this is all CSS and typography stuff again. Like we can do things if it's over a certain length, we can drop the font size. All kinds of stuff.
Yeah, I also think like, I guess we could add Markdown support a little bit more natively to the prompts as well. So it's a little clearer that like you can support Markdown for how that gets displayed.
Yeah, I think I'm curious to see what the length of prompts that people put in, like how they're formatted. Like, is this thing going to become like a full document editor? Do we want to, like, also if you're inputting them via Discord, I mean,
totally
like what the range is on this. So, yeah,
I like the simplicity of one field because that's like a prompt is just this.
John, with that error, did you try to respond to a prompt that you've already replied to? That's definitely an error.
Makes sense. So it'd be more about catching that specifically and showing some sort of modal, probably.
It's
just don't have the input.
That's even better.
That needs to happen anyway.
Yeah, I think we might have had that on one of our previous lists at some point.
Yeah.
Cool. Something with this hour calculation. CJ, I remember we looked at this, but I don't remember if we committed that or if we changed anything there.
I think it's fixed. Pretty sure it's fixed. Like,
because this is from about a week ago. But this prompt,
really?
I keep forgetting it. Kristen made it like last Tuesday, so it's not expired yet. I think it might expire in a couple hours.
It's just not counting down. Yeah, it's probably not implemented.
Got it.
Yeah, it looks like it should be there, but it's probably not working properly.
Yeah, it looks like we have the little bit more. The formatting is actually being rendered here. The new lines, interesting on this one. Anything to think about on this page? Today was my first time seeing it. I didn't even realize it exists.
I didn't realize that existed either.
I don't think there's nothing that's like blocking on this, I don't think.
Yeah, I mean, I think with the text formatting that's applied site-wide, I think this page is pretty much golden.
Yep.
I mean, there's lots of little dammits that we can do, but
making it more, I don't know, user-friendly, but whatever. People will get the point.
Yeah. Well, I guess we're in the frame more of like get it usable by turbo nerd builders and stuff.
Like you can get there. So you go to that page. All right. Go there real quick. Just anybody's. All right. These are all your prompts. Scroll down. Oh, that's right. That's what I was doing there. Okay.
Which I really like this card right here. Like it's so self-complete.
Yeah, that stuff just needs fiddling with once we start seeing actual content come in. So that's, yep, it's good enough for now.
Cool. There's the waiting state. Yep, we got both of those in here. Don't show responses if prompt is still active. Yep. Hide responses. I think we may have dropped a couple to-dos into the code. Take a quick look at those just to see if there's anything front-endy. Okay, not too much there. Close.
Feeling prompty.
Does Rainbow Kit support ENS out of the box? I guess on if it doesn't tell you you're on the wrong network, which we'll have set to Polygon. That's something we care about.
You can just add whatever ones you want for the website.
Okay. Cool.
And we can make custom thing at the top. It doesn't have to stay looking like however Rainbow Kit default does it. And we can resolve whatever address it is and do the ENS.
Cool.
Also, Kevin is talking to them about resolving it by default using his API.
Right. Neat. It kind of seems like a no-brainer, but because I think they do it in the app, I believe, on each page. So. Anything else ringing a bell for people? I think I'm out of things that I remember.
Any loading states or anything like this?
Oh yeah, these two, which is post prompt submit and post response submit. I
got it.
think that's mainly all of them.
But then
I guess secondary to loading state.
I think we even have one of those states. It's just really ugly.
Yes.
It's the spin thing.
Yeah. It's so impressive, not ugly.
Yes.
What did Farzad say? He's like, well,
Oh my god, did Farzad see it?
Well, he hadn't seen anything, and
he
like the first thing he said was something very simple, like, well, there needs to be another round of design. Like he wasn't like, it was like non-judgmental. It was not, and we were like, well, yeah, like it's a mess right now.
That is like, it seems fine to me.
Well, and then the spinner thing came out, and we just lost our shit laughing. We're like, see, we did it.
Good. I can't imagine what more you would do.
Yeah, Dave's like, I think it's finished.
That's so funny.
You designers, you think you know so much. Don't even know quality when it stares you in the face.
It's like I would never expect anyone to ever see that, because I just think it's hilarious to like leave in as a development artifact. It's like in your face to do, basically. It's like,
it's very funny.
Something needs to go here.
I mean, this is part of building UI. I like building interfaces. So you remember, like, and you're running through it all the time. You're like, got to do this one because like I can't look at this thing anymore. It's a good, I mean, I used to do this all the time in websites.
Yeah.
Just make it ugly as hell so you can't miss it.
Yeah. Do we want to, does it help if we go through the app and call out each of these for the developer we're handing off to, or is it straightforward? Because we don't have that many.
Oh, are they fixing all of this?
In theory. Maybe they'll be like, we'll choose
Just like,
these, but
yeah,
not those.
ship it over.
Kristen, do you mean like
I
doing
mean,
like a
I didn't realize that was happening, but like, okay, if that's happening, then
Well, we have
probably
a
we
Loom
need to give them
thing.
more detail.
Yeah, we have a
Like,
Loom
these are
thing,
good
right?
bullet
We're doing
points
it
for
right
us.
now.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I wonder if this would be enough context. I guess because
Well, we
just
could go flow
Oh, yeah.
through right now and be like, here's where we
yeah,
would
super
like,
deliberately. So we can just
Yeah.
link to this timestamp.
Clip
Love
it
it.
out.
I love it. Yes. Cool. All right. Start numbering these.
Creating more and more interactive medias with every meeting.
Yes.
Yeah, this style of thing, because I used to have to write it up and then doing screen grabs, and then even then nobody knew what the fuck I was saying. So then I would just have to walk through it again.
well, this
So-
is an example of handing something off.
There it is.
How do you hand something off like this so that you're giving the person on the receiving end is like much information as possible to get them into the work?
Yes.
And the handoff is in lieu of working together. Sometimes you can't get into like a shared space, or maybe it doesn't make sense or whatever. Like handoffs, I mean, it's part of work, but making it
The style of working
more
together.
seamless. Yeah. And there it is.
Yeah,
I guess, CJ, there was something here about waiting for confirmations to account for the data loading into the graph. That's still the case, I guess, but we're just waiting and then redirect on end, which I don't know if exists here.
the redirect does exist, I believe.
Okay, so I'll add that into the card specifically. So
So is this? Yeah.
it does.
All right.
Yeah,
Sweet.
it's just you need like the weight for 4 transactions is too high. Like it should just be pulling the graph on a regular interval until the data is fresh, and then you just do that. Like you basically just need the graph. Either you need the graph to have the data, or you just proactively link to that page and give it the data it needs to render the page in some way, shape, or form. I don't know how to do that cleanly. Kevin might know.
Yeah, so there's going to be some timing stuff in this. If the wait times are that long.
It'll be faster.
Okay, and then
It'll be on Polygon, so the block time is like 2 seconds, and then
got it.
however
And
long
then
it
it's
takes
available.
the graph to update. Yeah, usually
Okay.
the graph will get it within a few seconds, so it shouldn't be more than a 10-second wait.
Okay.
Ideally, I don't know if that'll be the reality, but I think it should be about a 10-second
We'll
wait.
just get it in the easiest way, and then if we need to like stage it for like to make it feel faster, we can do that.
Yes.
Because we can just pop up something else while something else is happening, and then slot it in once it's there. Yeah. Please fill out this other prompty while you wait for your first prompty to prompty.
Yeah. Okay, add loading state after submitting a prompt response while the transaction confirms. Now it's this. Oh, interesting. I wonder if that's going to go through because I left the page. I assume so. Let's see. It did. Great. Nothing complicated there. Hide response on a prompt if user prompt is still active and user has not replied. So in the case that somebody else replied here instead of me, I shouldn't be able to see their reply until I myself reply.
What is our communication with them other than just like, is there like an email thread or something? Because I wonder if it also is like they can just ask questions on some of these and it'll.
That would be wonderful. Totally.
Do those
like
like issues?
Yeah, or something
Issues
like
are
to that effect.
a little bit heavy because most people are just completely overwhelmed by the GitHub email notifications.
That makes sense. Just
a Discord bridge of some sort. I don't know what they use internally.
They use Slack, but who
Yeah,
would
very
be
open to some sort of-
communicating that, John or CJ?
I think whoever of us like sees it and feels like we have the context to reply, unless we would need to discuss something, then I guess we could do it in line there because that's fine for them to weigh in on.
I think we could get their dev into Discord.
Yeah, that would probably ideally be the easiest.
Yeah. So
I'm trying to avoid
Interrelational?
installing. Trying to avoid Slack. If they do email, I will suffice. But into Discord is good because then it's kind of our native working medium for Prompty thus far.
We're there.
True.
If that's not a problem for them, that would be the ideal thing.
I think it should be fine.
Yeah.
So number 4 here is basically saying if we load this prompt up incognito and it's still active, I shouldn't be able to see the responses.
Yep.
Yeah.
These 2 fields would turn into a double slider. I'm assuming that they'll know what one of these are, but we can find an example if need be.
Yeah, this one may need some design. I don't know if they'll do that custom or how they're thinking about that stuff, but yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess this should be 6 now. How specific do we want to get here? Do we want to get a little more like prescriptive?
Yeah.
They might have something off the shelf, I assume.
I probably, this one I don't know. It's so finicky. Because we need to do
this
the
is a tailwind
pass
thing
overall.
probably.
Yeah, it's not a problem. Like I can probably do this for this round. And then we're gonna do another design pass and like work out all of this stuff for real. So if we're pushing towards like demo day or something like this, I can just go in there and hack on it until it feels better. I think that makes the most sense for now.
Yeah, I think that's a lot. It feels like to me a bunch of these potentially are that as well.
Yeah.
Like, I think if, at some point, if it's just like too much like to boot up initially, it's probably just easier to just like go in there and just fix it real fast.
Because like, there's a point where I can just write the CSS faster than I can tell someone else to think about how to write it. So, but
That's
there's
funny.
a point where we get into a design system where we need to document it all, have everybody know what's going on, and then we can build from there. So I think
sounds good. And yeah, I think we could have these in a state of some sort that if we do knock them out, then we just update the status without having to re-coordinate everybody.
just re-record the video.
Don't have response visible if you've already responded. It's pretty self-explanatory.
Yep.
This whole thing should be invisible. And number 7, calculate display time remaining in hours, days. I guess I know there's some libraries that just choose whichever value is like the smallest of the set. And just as far as the data for this one goes, I wonder if we spit out the object here. Start time. So start time plus end time in seconds in CPOC. So easy conversion. That's well, I think that's about it.
Cool. Pretty painless so far.
Yeah, it's not a lot. I mean, they're
even just
little projects.
Yeah, in little squares is already making me like less terrified.
Yeah, you might not even need to put it in a table. I mean, I don't know.
Yep.
I guess this person's a developer, not a designer. I don't know what the best way to share this kind of information is.
I can try to get into a table. If it doesn't feel like it adds value, then I'll just leave it at this. Because the only other things the other thing Farzad asked is like the weight of each task. But I guess we can do that right now.
Like how long each will take?
Mm-hmm. So maybe I'll just say like a star Let me get a little legend here. Star is
Maybe this is when we'll get Farzad into relational Discord too. He's,
that'd be great.
I think, been, I don't know if he's been anti-Discord. I don't know that
Not
he's
gonna add
really,
anything to his stack unless he needs to.
He was adding too much. It's like the needle that broke the camel's back. Add one more piece of insanity and it just goes too crazy.
I mean, since
Discord's a heavy
Midjourney
one.
showed up, like my relationship to Discord has gotten so goddamn discombobulated. I have no idea what's happening anymore at any given time.
Insane.
I was
I'm
keeping
like,
up with Def until about Friday morning. And then I was just like, I can't. And I haven't logged in since. I'm just like, I can't. I know there's so much to catch up on. I'm just like, because like once all the threads split from Thursday's call, my brain just started melting.
No one's even saying anything, so it doesn't matter.
That's good. Okay. I'm glad I'm not missing much, but most of my weekend I just spent like watching television.
Good. I just poke my head in the art and design channel, and sometimes there's some stuff in there about AI.
Oh yeah.
Sounds good.
they've only does Midjourney adjacent communications in Discord.
I'm learning about all the AI stuff, and like they've done a bunch of deep dives, so they've like front run the research. It's great. I can't keep up with all the acronyms, clips and GANs and VQs and fucking madness.
The scale, I feel like it's going to be very hard, is what I realized, because it's like very subjective to the person.
I mean, it
totally is, but my internal thing here is using Arthur as a frame of reference, because he's just like serial contractor, React contractor.
Interesting, yeah.
Does he do
so bad at this?
He does. I think he's very down to hack on Prompty, but he's just so overloaded with projects right now, and so I'm just like, whenever you're around, come through. But poor guy went 3 days without seeing the sun because he's trying to keep East Coast hours in Saudi Arabia, and he keeps missing the sunset. And he like set a schedule once, and he wakes up and he's like, I'm gonna see the sun today, and he opens his blinds and there's no sun because he mistimed it. He's like,
oh my gosh,
what a weird way to live.
Yeah, that's rough.
Yeah.
I could not do that, I don't think.
He's torturing himself, literally.
Basically.
It sounds like a prison to me almost. Like,
not gonna lie.
Full-blown hard mode.
Yeah.
That's fine. Well,
it's fine. It is what it is.
I've done equally stupid things, so there's no judgment here. It's just
who's amongst us, right?
Yeah. I mean, I was talking to Kristen about this. My friend Eddie and I, like, for a while, were doing weird sleep experiments, and like, there's all these patterns, like on Reddit and stuff. You know, like, you stay up for 32 hours, you sleep for 4. You sleep like a dolphin. Half of your brain is on, half of your brain is off. Like, only sleep while you're in the shower.
Only sleep while you're in the shower. That's a new one.
Oh, Dave.
But these kinds of things. Because I wanted to like get as long, like crazy long work sessions in, like be in the zone or whatever, and then like sleep is dumb. That's literally what my friend Eddie's name was on, I think, everything on all the social media was sleep is dumb. Culturally, we've turned a corner on this one. Sleep is absolutely important, and you cannot possibly miss a minute of sleep, or else you have Ebola.
Useless.
Exactly.
Yeah,
you're not even a human anymore. You didn't sleep enough.
I mean, sort of, yeah.
Yeah, kind of.
You become kind of feral. Yeah,
I mean,
I do.
yeah,
This is how all the feral people arose.
yeah, it's where they come from. If you drop below 4 hours of sleep a night continuously for like 2 weeks, you go
Instantly
full
feral.
feral.
Oh, yeah,
They're
I've not
feral.
done that. That sounds terrifying. I think.
I mean, I was on, I guess we're still
Chop
recording,
people's
whatever.
heads off.
I was on SSRIs when I first figured that stuff out, and they put me on Zoloft, and I'd never done anything like this, like any sort of like brain modification meds. And my initial reaction to it was, and it takes like a month for these things to like get into your system, and you start like noticing it. And there's all these crazy side effects. And for 3 months, I got like probably an average of 2 hours of sleep a night while I was like getting on board with these things.
God.
I watched every single thing on streaming media, all of it. This is like, I think 2010 or whatever, so there was less of it then. But like, I literally went through
crap.
the whole Netflix catalog.
That's just ouch.
So I know what
Holy
that's like,
wow.
and I never want to do that again. I was insane. Like, but I got
Yeah.
used to it. I'm just like, all
Were
right,
you
this is
working
how
at
it
all
goes.
during the time, or were you
Yeah.
just a vegetable? Wow.
You know, I was working. I was probably as busy as I've ever been.
Wow.
That's
Work 12-hour days and then come home and watch 8 hours of TV and then sleep for 2 hours and then do it again.
I mean, this is what I was doing. I was in New York though. I was socializing too. So
Kristen.
This is why you had panic attacks, because you weren't sleeping.
no, this is what helped the panic attacks. The panic attacks went away, but then I couldn't sleep.
Weird.
Like, it was great.
Interesting.
I'm like, oh, no more
Yeah,
panic
yeah.
attacks, but you don't get any sleep.
Wow.
So deal with that.
What a nightmare.
Yeah. Living nightmare.
I'm glad you've stabilized.
Something like that. That's what you
mean,
call this.
Yeah, that's what I call it. In
No more
comparison,
panic attacks and no more insomnia. So I guess
yeah.
we worked it out.
That's good.
Took a few years. We got there.
All right, we did that.
One last thing I'm wondering about is if there's anything we want to do with the repo as far as like README setup goes. I think there's already a little bit of info here.
Nice.
Is it
Git clone
NPM.
pnpm install pnpm dev. I don't know. That's all I do. There's probably other things that I'm missing, but I don't know. Probably works.
So funny because I still don't totally understand this stuff, but sometimes I get into little projects where
PNPM
I'm like,
dev.
I'm gonna do it, and then I find like a little package that I don't even know what the word is.
pnpm run dev.
PNPM.
Yeah.
Oh, it's pnpm run dev too?
Ideally, yes.
I didn't know it could do that. That's amazing.
Yeah. You can do it under npm as well, but yeah, running everything under pnpm will probably run into less issues.
Okay, well, that's really it, I think. Yeah, I don't remember running any other services locally or anything.
Yeah, I don't think so at the moment. I think we hard coded all those things. Yeah, Kristen, I don't know. It's still a magic box to me. I don't totally understand it either.
Yeah.
Well, I don't even because my dev environment is not I don't even know what that means really. I'm like slowly figuring out what that means, but I'm not set up to even I go to the repo and I'm like, oh, it's easy. It tells you right there what to do. And we just did one of those, and I'm like, I can't figure out what the first line means.
That's
don't know.
Actually, totally understandable. Because this is missing the most important part. So, really, if you're on a repo, they have this really nifty little window here, and then you basically usually want to use SSH, but HTTPS works too.
That's
like the repo.
Open with GitHub Desktop is where she's at.
That's lovely too. Yeah. Because you just choose the place where you want this like entire folder to be downloaded into.
Yeah.
Once you have that on your disk, you can go into it and like run the things. But
Just put my whole
typically
disk image on GitHub.
that sounds. That would be the whole command, so I can update that to make it more clear. Folder. So that command basically drops the directory onto my computer. Then if I go into it, then I would run pm install. That makes sure we have all the packages.
And all of that's getting
library.
pulled from the folder you just downloaded, or that you're pulling from through the GitHub app.
Kind of neither. It's looking at a file in the repo to know what to download, but it's downloading from like a giant databases because all these packages are shared between everybody. And then once we have it installed, pm run dev should get us going. And generally, each of these things will like output, where it's running. So it'll have like a little URL you can click.
Yep.
That's
and all of that, is that considered setting up your development environment for this repo? Like,
This is, I think, as easy as it gets. And I think at work, it would take us like 3 days usually.
Wait, what?
Yeah, because they have you have reconstruct, because this is one of the beauties of like blockchain development is that you've handed off so much of this shit to somebody else.
To the infrastructure that's publicly held or commonly held. Interesting. 3 days?
Yeah, because one person has a Mac Mini or whatever, and somebody else is on like an old Intel Mac, and there's like some stupid misconfigured package for one of the sub dependencies of like this random package, and you'll just spend half a day like looking for it. And so over time you get these like really esoteric documents that are just like, if you're running this version and you're living in this like IP zone, try this mirror first. It's just, oh my god, don't miss it.
No, thank you.
All right, do we bring this?
Insanity.
Do we bring everything into def now? Do we wait? Like, how do we strategize?
I think it would be really cool to wait until the demo and then drop a prompt that people can respond to.
I think that's good too. Yeah.
Okay.
It'll be nice and polished before then. So
yeah, also if it's actually during the demo, people might respond to it during the demo.
Totally.
Good demo.
Yeah, you might need to either do like a good prompt that you want people to take time on, or a really silly, stupid one so people can like, or both, because people are probably gonna just want to be like, haha, button smash, So,
True.
At least like seeing George plays Pokemon, that's like immediately what happened is like, ooh, I can press buttons. I'm gonna press every button on the website.
Totally.
Right. So I think you have to like work with that energy. Is like people are gonna like go insane immediately. They're gonna be like, oh, what are all these things? Like that's the community that we have. It's a bunch of weirdos. So
good.
They want to click all the buttons and figure it out.
Yeah, no, that's fun. It's interactive. It's good. I like this.
Yeah.
Okay, so for now, John, maybe we just document in the Prompty, it's not a thread, channel in relational, and then we'll see if we can get Farzad and his Andre into
his Andre.
Well, I was like, he's not like Farzad doesn't own this guy. I don't know why I'm saying his developer. Like
representing.
Yep.
Yes. He's working with Farzad. Cool. Fun even.
I'm gonna take a nap.
Yeah, me too.
Where I'm at.
Me too.
Sounds great.
Thanks for driving, John. Call after this.
Totally.
Yeah,
this was fun and painless. So, it's good.
Stop the recording.